Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Let's discuss a quick history of the Rolex Sky-Dweller. Debuted in full precious metal back in 2012. For 2017, it gained the steel white gold combination as an option, plus this fully luminescent dial. In 2020, a Oyster Flex strap bracelet became an option, and for 2021, the Jubilee bracelet also became an option. So I've always described these as extra large Datejusts, and now with the Jubilee bracelet, they look the part even more. So you're looking at the Oyster Perpetual Sky-Dweller, reference 326934904 all steel case, bracelet, and clasp, and a gray gold 18-karat white gold bezel. So it's 42 millimeters in diameter, 14 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, it is 50.4 millimeters, and that's 50.4 lug tip to lug tip, but 52.2 from end link to end link. There's a spacing of 22 millimeters between the lugs, and we'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. You get a good sense of the watch. It's broad, so I'd recommend it for a wrist of my size or larger. You're going to want to have a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference or larger. Maybe if your wrist is oval, you could get away with 15, but I think 16 is the best suggestion as a lower limit. Now, it will actually fit underneath the cuff, not because it's thin, but because it is dramatically sloped and has a conical fluted bezel that will assist in sliding underneath a sleeve. Here's your over-the-top shot. Down the barrel once more, the cuff shot, and now the bracelet. Rolex has its own foundry. It makes its own cases, clasps, and bracelets. It smelts its own steels and gold, and so the gold is known as gray gold. It's an 18-karat white gold alloy that never needs to be rhodium plated, and it is the same color all the way through, unlike cheaper white golds. So if it gets scratched, it's the same color underneath. Now, the steel is all 904L steel, which is highly resistant to corrosion. You don't need to rinse it after exposure to body sweat or sea salt, and that's the advantage of 904 over 316L. Here we get the Jubilee bracelet, so named because it debuted with the original date just in 1945. That was 40 years of Rolex, or a Jubilee occasion, hence the name of the bracelet. Now today, with all solid links, it's as robust as a sports bracelet, so it gives you the short link souplesse and comfort of a dress bracelet, as well as the elegance, but it also has quite a bit of structural integrity. We have alternate polish and satin. You can see the outer faces are also polished. Removable links are fixed by screws, and there are quite a few of them, so you're going to be able to precisely size, but you also have the 5mm in and out tool-free easy link adjustment system, and you can see that there are divots drilled inside the clasp, 3 of them. So using your strap tool, you can dismount the spring bar and change the anchoring point of the bracelet and the clasp to fine-tune the fit. We have a lift lock system with a spring-loaded beak and hook arrangement that snaps shut and closes securely, so you actually do have to lift it and unlock it to open it up. It's not a friction fit system. The case is the Rolex Oyster we've known since 1926, but larger. You can see, though, although it may be supersized, it's not a super case. The case band has a little tumble home or a rounded profile. The lugs aren't broad or squared off. It is a graceful, if substantial, form. And because we have a crown with a slash underneath it, that means this is a steel Rolex twin lock crown. We have an Oyster case back. The two combined provide 100 meters of water resistance. Now, this watch uses a system first pioneered on the 2007 Yachtmaster 2 called Ring Command, where you get to command your movement using the bezel. That's right, the bezel is part of the caliber 9001 movement. Now, I can wind in the first crown position. Having screwed it out and unlocked it, I can wind, but then if I pull it out, nothing happens. So I turn one click counterclockwise. Now I can adjust the date forward or backwards. And if you take a quick look, you can see that there's a little index in an aperture. That red index corresponds to the month. So you have 12 hours, and that means 12 months corresponding intuitively to January, February, March, April, and you're looking at December right there. So let's jump forward and backwards here. It is a bidirectional quickset system, so you can jump forward or backwards with no hazard to the movement. It is a very robust system, and it's an annual calendar. And that means you only need to make one correction per year during the jump from February to March. This was Rolex's first ever annual calendar system. Now we'll turn another click counterclockwise, And now you can see I'm able to adjust the local hour hand, but in neither case has the watch stopped. The hacking seconds is not active. So I can adjust the date forward, but I cannot turn it back. And note that I haven't stopped the watch, I'm not displacing the minute hand, and I'm not displacing the second time zone reference ring internally. Now, turn one more click counterclockwise, and now I've activated stop seconds. Now everything moves in sync. So the way you do this is you first set this 24-hour reference. That's your secondary independent time zone. So let's say I want to set it to 23:10. So I'm going to set it to 11:10 at night. You know, because that's in 24-hour format. Well, then I click once clockwise, and now I'm going to set my local time. And now I'm looking at 4:10, just like that. And now, one more click, and I set my calendar. So let's say it is the 7th or the 8th of December. There we go. One more click, everything's disengaged, screw it back down. Internally, we have a Rolex caliber 9001. It is a manufacturer movement. It uses a winding rotor bearing, so it's a new generation of Rolex movements. It's dispensed with the old and more shock-susceptible jeweled staff. It's a bidirectional winder with a 70-hour power reserve. It is a chronometer, certified, but Rolex then takes the whole watch, cases it up, tests it in 6 positions. Its tolerance before the watch leaves the factory is plus or minus 2 seconds per 24 hours, hence superlative chronometer. It beats at 4 hertz. It has 40 pivot jewels. It has the dual time capability, the hacking seconds. It has the annual calendar. It has a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock tolerance and precise adjustment. It uses an overcoil hairspring for consistent timekeeping in any orientation with respect to gravity. And that hairspring is a blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy that is very highly anti-magnetic. So it has that quality as well. And this is a sports watch, which means not only is it an automatic watch that's highly water resistant and mostly steel, but it is also well lumed, and Rolex makes its own lume. It's called Chromolite. It's a blue lume, distinctive of the brand. Inside the case, they also make their own Paraflex shock protection, even the very oils and greases that are used to lubricate the movement. So this is a full manufacturer product from the hands of the dial to the lubricants in the movement. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.